swept me off my feet. I know you care for me. I'll always hold on, I'll always be there. Your love is so strong, I'll always be near. Under the stars, this love is ours. This feeling's mine, never felt space.
I don't know if my mic can pick this up, but we are at the tunnels tour.
Okay, make her laugh.
Nice! That's New York, right? No, yeah?
That's the U.S., baby. That is the U.S. of A.
Hey, get the New York sun on here.
America!
Oh, I'll settle for that.
It looks like France.
I'll settle for that.
Alright, what are we whipping up right now?
Pecorino Romano and Asiago cheese pizza, and add
We didn't go
some
get
onions
those
on there.
mozzarella pearls.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's fine.
Yeah, we're gonna do some tomatoes, man.
Tomatoes.
I'm gonna do it half meat and then I'm gonna do half vegetable.
I love that idea.
Lane's just here for emotional support.
Usually I do the cooking, but this is...
Perfect state of where I like used to know.
Yes, sir. Sourdough bread. So what I want to share with you guys today is a verse specifically that ties in with what we learned last time. And for those of you who don't belong to a religion or don't believe in God, this is for you guys as well. Again, this is kind of just like a revelation, right, of who we are as children. I'll just read it real quick, but it's Ephesians 1:3, and it says that long before he laid down the earth's foundation, he had us in mind. He had settled on us as the focus of his love, to be made whole and holy by his love. Long ago, he decided to adopt us into his family through Jesus Christ. And so how that verse ties in with what I was talking about last week. I briefly described the original intent, right, when we were created as this source of purity, right, and love, this pure source of love. And I talked about how we come into this world, right, and it's learned behaviors. You can go through psychology and neuropsychology and find out that a lot of our patterns, right, they're predictable. They're human behaviors that are learned, right? We see mom do it, we see our grandparents do it, and we mimic that behavior. And usually a lot of times it's to, you know, in the case of like attachment styles, right, we learn to adapt based on the needs or wants that we have in that time frame. And it's like the only way that we can get what we need from our parents. Because if you look at the base primal needs, you know, nurturing is a big part of that. And so, like, for example, if you had, let's say you had like a more distant father, right? And maybe they were always working, that your idea of trying to get their attention is maybe you tried to do things that would accomplish those goals, right? So maybe you did really well in band, or you tried to learn something so you could get accolades like from your father, right? So you could feel wanted, so you could feel loved, so you could feel cared for. Okay, and so that's kind of what we're dealing with here. So essentially, through the tribulations in your life, there's family dynamics that we began to learn and adapt to. as a result of those wants and needs. And basically what it does is it programs our mind to act in accordance with those same learned behaviors, thoughts, and actions, right? It becomes a pattern. And sometimes these patterns are really bad, you know, as we get into adulthood, because we're now free from the coop, right? We're no longer under our parents, but we're still doing the same things for our parents' approval, even though our parents aren't there, right? So what I want to pinpoint, though, is that these patterns are responsible for developing core wounds in our childhood. And there's specifically 6 that show up in our lives that I'm going to be honing in on, because I really feel like there is a lack of understanding in those areas. And just to kind of clarify, like when you have your core wounds, right, these are not a substitute for like attachment styles. They're part of attachment styles, but there's so much more than attachment styles and core wounds that are really going to help with your healing process. Because for those of you who are sticking around, I know you're here for healing. I know you're here for results. And I know you're here to become more self-aware. And that's something that I respect and admire in each of you. So the wounds that I'm going to be addressing have to do with loss, rejection, neglect, abandonment, betrayal, and the injustice wound. We'll definitely be talking about these more later, okay? But despite what you may or may not have been told, you do not have to carry these wounds with you for the rest of your life. These are life's hurts, right? And part of the major thing that I just went through was healing life's hurts. It was part of a module, okay? I got this really profound revelation that I'm definitely going to be sharing with you guys, but it's the aspect of that no matter what I do, you guys got to keep in mind that these are our earthly parents, right? And because we're human, we're going to have flaws, right? And because of our patterns and our behaviors, you know, they will tie into our friendships, they will tie into our relationships. And something that I learned in this class too is a lot of the time when we're acting out of a state of fear or we're disconnected, right, from our emotions, we tend to take what we're feeling as the result of the person maybe that we're with or that we're interacting with and assume that it's them. But in reality, we can look at either a pattern of when we felt this way or if we've always felt disconnected. And this is getting a little ahead of myself, but this has to do with the dysregulated nervous system. And so these are areas that I'm definitely going to be focusing in on for you guys, that I have a real passion for. Obviously, the main goal is healing, but it was never the Father's original design for any of you to have wounds, to have any pain, to have any trauma. I understand that we go through our trials and tribulations. You know, that is part of the persecution we face as humans on this earth, but that's not the goal, right? And so just to share with you guys some attributes of a child, right? We talked about how children are love sponges, okay? Children are innocent. Children have childlike faith. They believe in nearly the impossible. Children are loving, again. Children are spontaneous, right? They're adventurous. They go after things. They're very motivated, especially, you know, maybe there's some food that they want or something that's off limits. We're even more motivated, right? And so what we're doing is we're going to tap into what that inner child is. We're going to tap into those wants and needs that we had as children that now we're struggling in adulthood with trying to reconnect with that part of our former self. But I am fully convinced that if you guys do the work, that if we continue to stick and maintain at this, we are going to see results, right? It all is based on progress. It's based on how much work you're willing to put in to get your own healing. And this may sound like a very difficult task, but truly it's not anything crazy. And simply it's that because we learned that, because we learned those beliefs, because we learned those things, we have to unlearn that programming. We have to unlearn those negative beliefs, and we need to see ourselves as how God sees us, or, you know, if you don't believe in God, that part of ourselves that we cherish and that we love, right? But I'm fully convinced that without understanding the love of a creator or intelligent design that was specifically put in us, it's hard to fully grasp everything that I'll be sharing. But again, I leave that to you guys. Those are just my beliefs that I'm passionate about. So I look forward to talking to you guys all in the next video. And as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Stay frosty, be blessed.